Well, welcome back to Aberdeen and the Taom Shootout in the final session of the group stages. And we have just seen the end of Group 2, or the deciding factor of Group 2. Chris Melling was already through, Alan Dixon and George Tierney. Alan with the win in that concession in the last frame by George Tierney. Got the win 3 frames to 2, and he goes through second in the group. George Tierney is out. We move on to Group 3 and a matchup between Barry Nicoll and David McNamara. Barry Nicoll has not had the best of weekends so far, but he did get a win in his last matchup. Lost his opening 2 matches, won his next one, so he sits on 2 points in the table. Dave McNamara sits at the top of the table with 4 points. Simon Fitzsimmons, Mark Boyle, they're both sitting on 4 points as well. It does mean there is a mathematical chance for Barry Nicoll to go through. He has to win this match and win this match handsomely. I'm going to need other results to go his way as Simon Fitzsimmons and Mark Boyle play off in the second last match of the afternoon session. Simple maths for David McNamara. If he wins, he is through. He can relax and focus on tonight's quarter-final match. For Barry, it's not just about winning. His frame difference of -2. David McNamara's on 4, Simon Fitzsimmons on 3, Mark Boyle on 2. You think for Barry to go through, he's going to need to get ahead of David McNamara in this, after this match, which means he has to, well, if he wins 4-0, he would go to +2. David McNamara would go to 0, so he'd go ahead of him with a 4-0 win. Anything else, and he'll stay behind him. All the reds open here for David McNamara. Gap between the yellows to get to the red, to the bottom left. David started slowly yesterday, lost his opening match, or his only match of the Friday's play. He lost to Mike Clark 3 frames to 2. In a match he probably feels he had enough chances to win in, but it went Mike Clark's way. And then he beat his good friend Simon Fitzsimmons this morning, 4 frames to 1. And a 3-1 victory over one of the big favourites for the tournament in Mark Boyle. To open our show this afternoon, sees him on 4 points and in a really good position. Controls his own destiny, which is all you really want at this stage. And a very smooth clearance from David McNamara to get this opening frame on the board. First opportunity went to Barry Nicoll. Didn't make the most of it. David McNamara said thank you very much, and he's ahead. And that means that Barry Nicoll will now not be able to go ahead of David McNamara. And I think my maths isn't quick enough, but I'm pretty sure the way the frame difference is set out, he can't catch Simon Fitzsimmons and Mark Boyle, because one of those 2 players has to pick up points. So that means that Barry Nicoll, with that frame loss, will be out of the Taom Shootout. But he'll want to go out with a win. Barry Nicoll's just called a foul on himself. I think David McNamara is going to pop the red with his free shot and then going to look to go yellows. It's still an open table. This is an easier chance than it was in the opening frame for him. All the yellows in the open, reds are out the way. Just got to work his way around the table. Probably be a little bit careful about when he chooses to take the yellow to the top left and what ball he'll play on afterwards. Other than that, it's fairly simple work. Although, that's not the best positional shot he's ever played. Gives himself the sarcastic ball player's tap of the table. And that bad shot has led to another. And now he's starting to dig a hole. The yellow does go past the red to the top left still. And I think he can see the yellow to the bottom left. But it's a tough pot. And he's going to go for the one to the top. Well, that will irritate David, as he would have expected to clear up there and get himself a quick 2-0 lead. Whilst winning that opening frame knocks Barry Nicoll out of the tournament, it doesn't guarantee David McNamara a passage through to the quarterfinals. Simon Fitzsimmons and Mark Ball both on 4 points. If they draw, they'll both go to 5 points. So David McNamara needs a draw to qualify, as he holds the frame advantage, frame difference advantage, I should say. Oh, that's an excellent shot from Barry. Knew exactly what he was doing. Big pocket to the top left, develops his ball along the bottom cushion. Just about still see the red. If he can't, it's a little swerve. If he can't, then the pot's probably not too bad, but it's the position onto the black that will be the problem. Well, the fact that he's not getting down on this immediately tells me he can't quite see enough of this red to pot it straight. If he plays the swerve, the white won't go anywhere. Just felt forced to come off one cushion, because if he made the pot, the white would drift up the table enough. But he has missed the pot off the one cushion, and after a brilliant shot to open things up, it's Barry Nicoll's turn to feel disappointed not to make the clearance. David doesn't want to be straight, and he has finished straight. Cannot get close to his last yellow now. That was always going to be tough. The white going in will be even worse. The position of that red, it would have felt like a little bit of a free shot for David, but the white going in off has just changed things completely. And Barry Nicoll, as expected, ties the scores up at 1 frame all as we approach the halfway mark of this match. Both players had enough chances to win that frame, but it was David McNamara that made the last mistake. We've still got some matches to come this afternoon. Next up, Fraser Allen plays Patty McCarran. Patty needs to win to have a chance of qualifying through. Fraser is already out. And James Jack and Jordan Shepherd in what is effectively a knockout match. Dennis Taylor takes on the number one player right now, Liam Dunster, in what is a dead rubber match, but should still be entertaining all the same. Simon Fitzsimmons and Mark Boyle, well, they'll be playing off for a place in the quarterfinals as well, and I'll have a very keen interest on the result of this match. And then the final match of the qualifying stages and the afternoon session will be Darren Matthew and Martin McIntosh. They sit 1 and 2 at the top of Group 4. Martin is safely through. Darren Matthew is almost through. He could still be caught by Patty McCarran, but there is a big frame difference problem to solve as well for Patty. So Darren already has 1 foot in the quarterfinals. As this match just ticks into its second 20 minutes, means we're now at a 15-second a shot clock phase. Be interesting to see how Barry Nicoll goes about this. The 2 yellows on the right-hand side are real problem balls. He could play the yellow off the yellow over the middle to keep the pot going. Or he could get to the one over the middle. That's very aggressive. And it's a great effort, but it's not come out particularly well for him. The black's gone safe. The yellow on the left-hand side has stayed safe. He tried to make something happen, but it didn't. And Dave McNamara now has a pretty clean run to the finish line in this frame. Get himself back in front. Lovely control from David McNamara. And he goes back in front. 2 frames to 1. Gives the table a bit of a rap. It means if he's to be denied of making it through to the quarterfinals, then Barry Nicoll is going to have to win a couple of quick frames. As we're getting closer to the last quarter of this match. Decent break from Barry Nicoll. Excellent pot. Probably deserved better from the break he had than to be welded tight to that top cushion. He's eyeing up the plants on the yellows. He's got to watch where the yellow he hits goes. Doesn't want that going safe. It would have gone safe, but he's missed the plant anyway. Not quite for McNamara, trying to develop things on the right-hand side. Still has to solve that problem ball. Well, he's opened up the red now, but he's going to have to take it straight away to the top right. It's got a little bit of angle, so he could just top this through. Position isn't a huge problem, but it's a tough pot. Brilliant. Brilliant stuff from David McNamara. And with 5.5 minutes left on the clock, he'd have to lose 3 straight frames in 5.5 minutes if he does complete the clearance here. Which he has. Dave McNamara is all but in the quarterfinals as he takes a commanding 3-1 lead with 5 minutes left on the clock. A draw would be enough for David, so you have to feel he has got his place in the quarterfinals booked up. David's attention can turn now to completing the job, getting the winning frame and getting that frame difference up. It's important once you qualify through to try and get yourself a #1 seed from your group. It means he would avoid the danger man, that is Chris Melling, who's been one of the standout players, as has Callum Singleton. Both those guys have gone through as group winners. So if you can go through as a group winner, you avoid those in the quarterfinals. Barry Nicoll's going to have to play yellow off the black just to ping the black open, which he's done really nicely. Very well executed shot, and he's in perfect position for a quick response. Just when it looked like Barry Nicoll was going to complete a very good clearance, he misses the pot to the middle, probably because he was paying all attention to the path of the cue ball. Had to avoid the reds at the bottom of the table. It means that David McNamara has the opportunity to wrap up this match 4 frames to 1 and pad out that frame difference, giving himself every opportunity of finishing top of the table. Well, the longer he leaves the red at the bottom of the table, the harder it will be, and he's had to leave it for his last ball. He's finished a little bit too straight on it to get close to the black, but the black's close enough to the pocket that he should pot it wherever he leaves the white, but it's not going to be simple. Well, he has missed it, missed the red. Bit of a surprise. 1.5 minutes left on the clock. Time for this frame to be completed. Well, it's a great effort at the pot, but the white flies straight in. And David McNamara should wrap up the victory. Shot on a visit. Well, frame has been conceded. And Dave McNamara does get the victory, 4 frames to 1, and he moves on to the quarterfinals. He'll be back this evening for Barry Nicoll. It wasn't his weekend We're going to take a quick break. When we return, it will be Fraser Allen versus Patty McCarron.
Into left centre. Opted for the easier pot and the first frame on the board. In this all Aberdeen affair, it's Frazzy who's looking snazzy.